Dozens of journalists, media executives, and news publishers have extended their support for press freedom in Turkey by signing a petition calling on the Turkish government to set journalists free. As of early evening on Tuesday, the petition had been signed by nearly 70 participants of the World News Media Congress, the largest gathering of news publishers and journalists organized by the World Association of Newspapers and News Publishers, WAN-IFRA. At the request of media representatives from other countries, the Zaman Media Group, which owns this newspaper, has launched a signature campaign at the Congress. The campaign has attracted dozens of journalists, from Nigeria to Japan and Trinidad and Tobago. USA Today Editor-in-Chief David Callaway, Project Syndicate Vice President Jonathan Hoffman and Pakistan's Dawn Editor-in-Chief Zafer Abbas are among the signatories to the petition. Representatives of the French news agency AFP and The Guardian also supported the campaign by signing the petition. Media executives and editors' unions from across the world also signed Zaman's petition. Due to increasingly authoritarian government practices, press freedom is suffering severely in Turkey, said the petition, which was hung outside the Zaman Media Group's booth at the Congress. Alongside Zaman and Today's Zaman, the only newspapers present at the Congress were the New York Times, the Financial Times, the Washington Post and the USA Today. The petition highlights the fact that critical journalists are being tried on vague charges, such as attempting to overthrow the state for simply reporting on government abuse and corruption. It also notes that the government is threatening to confiscate independent media organizations and top state officials at election rallies or defaming dissident reporters. According to the petition, social media posts are censored and users face prosecution. As of today, prominent journalists continue to remain behind bars for their journalism, the petition said. Dozens of journalists and media executives from countries such as the US, France, UK, Canada, Ecuador, India, Switzerland, the Czech Republic, Saudi Arabia, Sweden, the Netherlands, Germany, Colombia, Zimbabwe, Puerto Rico, Denmark, Belgium, Russia, Indonesia, Peru, Norway, Uganda, Nigeria, Kenya, Trinidad and Tobago, and South Korea signed the petition in a display of solidarity. The petition backed by these journalists stated that politically motivated trials in Turkey present a heavy blow to press freedom and the country's democratic future. Turkish journalists are almost on a daily basis slapped with criminal charges over the content of their news stories and Twitter posts. Turkey's courts dole out sentences for any type of criticism under the country's widely exploited defamation law. Turkish authorities are using courts to effectively silence anyone who speaks up against the government's wrongdoing. Last year, the authorities shut down Twitter and YouTube until the Constitutional Court lifted the ban. At least 10 journalists remain behind bars in Turkey, including Taraf columnist Mehmet Baransu and Samanyolu TV executive Hidayet Karaka. No trial date has been set for the journalists and prosecutors have failed to prepare any indictment against them. International press advocacy bodies have said the charges against them are trumped up and fabricated. In the past 3 months, 4 letters from the U.S. Congress have been sent to Secretary of State John Kerry to highlight press freedom during his talks with Turkish officials. Freedom House downgraded Turkey as not free while the Reporters Without Borders, the world's largest press advocacy body, based in Paris, ranked Turkey 149th out of 180 countries in its latest Press Freedom Index. Most journalists who signed the petition during the Congress condemned the Turkish government's plan to take over the newspapers, promising to support the plight of courageous journalists in Turkey. We object to any intervention in freedom of expression. We urge democratic countries and organizations to strongly condemn the Turkish government's actions and demand the immediate dismissal of the cases against and the release of arrested journalists, the petition said. Suleiman Yuba, representing editors in Nigeria, signed the petition and said he had prepared a letter about Turkey that he will present to WAN-IFRA's president. The letter urges the president to condemn the media crackdown in Turkey. Yuba's letter highlights how restrictions to the press in Turkey have become a global concern. Tsuyoshi Kawamura, the editor-in-chief of Asahi Shimbun, Japan's best-selling newspaper, with a circulation of over 5 million, also signed the petition and said the campaign will be published in his newspaper.